Hello, greetings, and welcome back to the channel. I just wanted to make a quick video to talk about something that's been on my mind a lot lately, and that is the state of social media, social networks in particular. Peter McKinnon put out a video today that I thought was really interesting, talking about the death of Instagram, which is not necessarily something that's new by any means for content creators to talk about. You know, Instagram is great for things, it's bad for things, it's good for things, it's bad for things. Talk about the social platforms. Where should you be? Where do you need to be pushing your content out to? But he had not only the Instagram logo, but the Vero logo. And Vero is a social network I've been using for a little while now. I've been enjoying it, but it doesn't particularly feel like something that's fully fleshed out. Let me explain. So I've been thinking to myself about what would make a good social network, a good social platform. And I have kind of a multi-step process to this. We'll discuss the more detailed version in a different video, but for right now, let me just discuss what I was thinking in regards to different social media networks. I've found certain things that I've enjoyed about all the platforms that I've been on, starting with MySpace, working to Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, Vero, VidMe, Google+. Google+ was one of my favorites. Call me stupid, but I enjoyed it. And I think each of them did something right in their own respect. So the problem right now is that platforms like Instagram are algorithmically driven. Everyone talks about it. You hear it all over YouTube and all over Twitch, any video platforms, as well as things like Facebook, Instagram. You gotta follow the algorithm. You gotta follow what the algorithm wants you to do. Otherwise, you just kind of get blown into oblivion as far as like nothing you produce will be seen. Now the algorithm, I kind of adapted as saying gaze not into the algorithm, or if you gaze into the algorithm gazes also into you, in that all it had to do was start the process, and once the process begins, it continues to snowball. So for example, we start a few people watch one particular type of video, and that starts trending, which the algorithm then goes, okay, this is what's trending, I'm going to push more of this. And then when you start getting the creators that go, in order to make a living doing this or using this platform, I need to follow whatever the current trends are. So then you feed into that trend, which then tells the algorithm I've done things right, but we're just essentially working to build upon and build up that algorithm. Sorry, my dog's slipping all over the place here. Okay, so it's basically like a confirmation bias, but for an algorithmic process that drives views and content. I was very upset that I found this great new content creator, Barris Alkis, and he made a video called Dear Peter McKinnon, and that was how I found him. YouTube knows that I enjoy Peter McKinnon's videos, so it has his name on it. Why not recommend it to me? And I'm really upset that it didn't recommend me his content based on the merit that he makes incredible content. Algorithms can be great, don't get me wrong. I'm not here to just shit all over the algorithm and say everything's wrong, we should all just go back to the Stone Age. That's not the idea. What I would like to see put together in a social network, and if it's something that I can achieve with technology that I have and make it free and open to everyone, I intend to do that. But pulling things, for example, from MySpace, what MySpace had that I think every social network right now lacks is we have things like Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, which allow you to tell the world things. You know, you can kind of put out there your thoughts and your experiences, photos of things that you've done with the day, but it doesn't really allow you to build and discover a self-identity, only to feed in things that turn up the algorithm and your thoughts on stuff, which tends to be whatever's the hot topic of the day. You see a lot of people discussing politics or, their side hustle life or whatever it is, things that trend. Whereas MySpace in the early days, and I know times were much different back in the wild west of the internet when MySpace was around. You could build an entire profile page, pictures of yourself, you had your top friends, which probably ended a lot more friendships than it began. But you had this entire page, this profile that was about you. Not a paragraph of about you, a full page that you could customize the CSS, the HTML, you could add music to your page so that when people came there, they got a little taste of what it's like, what's going on in your head. And I think we're missing that. Facebook's news feed, Twitter's feed, they're all great, but I think they're all missing something. Algorithmically driven or not, I think they're missing the ability to tell the story of the self. So I think to start with, we need a platform that allows user customization, user profiles, something that says, this is me, somewhere that I could just go and post quiz results to, like, what color Power Ranger are you? You know, it was useless information that was just fun. People would do quizzes on Quizilla, or they'd find, like, hey, answer these questions and post it up on your profile. And that was fantastic. It's a lot of good information for forging friendships in a human way that doesn't involve any information that could potentially be sensitive or used for doxing, which I think is important. And then you've got the newsfeed end of it, which is like the entirety of what Twitter and Facebook are based on now, that could just be their own subsection, but they've made an entire social network out of it. And then aspects of Google+. Google+, when it first came out, had this great ability to sort your friends. I have certain friends that I know that are really into gaming. I have other friends that are not. They're into cars. I have friends that are into, you know, certain types of comic books, or I have people who are family, and you could sort them into those categories so that if I wanted to share something specifically with family, I could share specifically with family, or specifically not with family. Or things I wanted to share directly to my friends who are gamers. It's relevant to them. So I can share it within those circles. And circles was the thing that I think Google did really well with Google+. Vero takes a little bit from that and has various levels of connections that you make with people. Whereas Twitter and Instagram, you kind of have followers, and Instagram implemented close friends. But Vero allows you to have best friends, friends, acquaintances, and followers. And you can have different profile pictures and share different content with each, which gives you the ability to keep all of the personal things, the things that we all look at on Facebook and go, why would you post that on the internet for everyone to see? The things that you do want to post and talk about, but are more relevant to your immediate circle, can be posted to best friends. And then the people that follow you, your followers for your content, don't ever have to see that. They see whatever you want them to see, whatever people of that level see. Implementing both of those, both a user-created categories system as well as a level of connection, I think would offer a lot of privacy and protection on these accounts that would do great things for the social platform. Having your feed split up into, like, the short Twitter, you know, bursts and thoughts of things that I was thinking, things that I thought were quippy, things that I think are quotable, or memes I want to share, and that just goes into its own feed. Having something bigger for blogs, like being able to post a much longer rant about something. Like, this entire video could have been put into an essay and then posted to a blog page. That could also be a part of that network. And then also having a photo album, something similar to what Flickr does, but maybe Flickr Lite. You know, something more Instagram driven. And for the love of all that is holy, having people you follow, people you're friends with, show up on your feed in chronological order as the default. If you want something that's algorithmically driven or something that's suggested to you, that would be a whole separate feed, but not the default. And then Facebook. What did Facebook do right? Facebook did groups and communities. I think the ability to connect with multiple people, to create a group page. I've done that for fans of anime, creating the North American Anime Alliance, and other groups that are centered around particular interests, anime clubs, gaming clubs, that kind of stuff. Something that allows people to come together in a community that's not necessarily centered around a person. And I think that would be a fantastic addition. Put the whole thing together into this one big package, and the only thing you have to do then is try and figure out how to get the whole thing to function. The biggest problem, I think, plaguing a lot of social media right now, and the biggest fear that I have for Vero going forward, Vero is ad-free. It's not algorithmically driven. It posts people that you follow and their content in the order in which it was posted. But there's not a lot of people on there right now, because without an algorithm, There's nothing to promote, nothing to follow, no one to tell you what to create in order to become popular. You just make things and post things and share things. And sadly, I think that some of us have forgotten how to do that. And I've seen this with VidMe a while ago, when a lot of people were leaving YouTube in droves for VidMe because YouTube wasn't really viable, as a lot of people were seeing as a monetized platform for content creators. And VidMe had all these promises of like, we don't have anything algorithmically driven, all of our videos are sorted by actual people. But there were no advertisements, and I think because of that, there were no advertisements and no subscription model, meaning there wasn't really a good way for the platform to make money. And because of that, people can only do so much open sourced and for free. And I'm worried about what's going to happen to Vero, because they can really only go a couple of ways. Either they'll have to implement a subscription model, which I personally would be fine paying for to remain ad-free and algorithm-free, to keep the platform pure the way that it is, true social, as the company has branded themselves. But I can also see the people that don't want to pay a subscription fee, that just think this is owed to me and I should be able to access it for free. I'm okay with selling my personal information. So now you have to have a regular version that's ad-riddled and a premium version that people pay for to have no ads. And unfortunately, as anyone with YouTube Premium understands, just because you've removed the intrusive ads before and after and the pop-ups within the content, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going to be advertised to, because the big creators, the people who are popular on the platform, are still going to be approached by brands, and you'll still get halfway through a Laugh You Lose challenge and have to listen to 2 minutes worth of Raid Shadow Legends and why it's the greatest game that no one's ever actually played. I played it twice and it was garbage both times. That's my concern, is that we just don't live in a sort of economy that would promote such a thing. I think it's necessary. I think we need something that offers that kind of communication, personalization, and connection, and does so without selling your private information, and does so without advertising to its entire user base. And if I can find a way to do that, I will. I wanted to put the idea out there because I know that there are people that understand web development so much better than I do. It doesn't take much. And if there's someone out there that knows a good way to do this, to be able to implement all those things, by all means, steal the idea, open source it. I would love to see something like this exist, be done, and be done well. Something that can be either crowdfunded or maybe a voluntary subscription model that kind of balances itself out. I don't know. All I ask is that the world needs something like this, and whether I do it or whether someone else does it, I think everyone's just looking for a platform that they can grab onto, that they can be a part of. And although I think, and we'll get into in another video, how I think that a sort of a VR platform that crosses over into the realm of social media would be ideal, I think that this is in the realm of what the world could handle and possibilities. Something that could actually be out and people would use. I'm not an expert in that field. They're just my own mad ramblings, but I'd love to know what you think. What is your favorite part of various social platforms? What do you think they've done right? We can all talk about, for hours on end, all the things that each platform is doing wrong. And the way that Instagram is just kind of a Frankenstein's monster of every other social platform, taking from Snapchat, taking from TikTok, trying to be things that it never was meant to be, to try and just be the everything. And it's just kind of not doing well at any of it. Personal opinions. But that's my rant. Tell me some of your favorite things about social media, whether it's things that are still around or not. For me, MySpace and Google Plus were some of the best experiences that I've ever had in social platforms. I met great people, and I had a lot of fun expressing myself. But I want to know what you think. Until next time, thank you guys for watching. I hope you've enjoyed your time here, and we'll see you again with more updates and random thoughts from Proxy in the next video. Stay awesome, and fuck your proprietary bullshit.